Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today we have an interesting pattern. This is pattern 106999. It's a 12-string bracelet that is sort of easy. We got the Kumi here. That is pattern 1650. Both of these are from friendshipbracelets.net. This overall was a really nice kind of bracelet to kind of get myself into. The solid dark brown ends up being kind of close to some of the variegated floss that goes from almost a light beige up to the brown. So there are some places where the whole pattern seems to kind of almost fade away and not really be doing anything, which I think is a kind of a shame, because it is an interesting pattern. It is, I wouldn't say it's beginners. It's close to being a beginner bracelet. It naturally will want to kind of go a little bit wavy on you because of the big zigzag that's going on through the middle. But that said, it turned out okay. It was not bad. I don't have too big of a problem with those kind of bracelets because I'm making adjustments as I go along. If it starts to lean one direction, just kind of pull it back to center. It's okay. One of the interesting things is that there's a big zigzag that runs right from the very beginning to the very end. And I use that string specifically because I didn't want to mix it with something else. I didn't want an abrupt change from one of the other ones that might make the colors suddenly jump from light to dark or vice versa. So I ran that one straight through. And there are moments where it kind of jumps anyways. And there was kind of no getting around that. But then there's other places where it's more subtle how it changes and how it goes through. Because that string ran from the beginning to the end, that string was very, very short by the time we got to the end. Now, if you're new here, you might not know this, but I've said this so many times. I cut my strings into 1/3 of a skein because I know that when it comes to my template, that even if I have a string that does start from the very beginning and runs all the way to the end, the string will be long enough that I can still have a tassel, and that was the case here. That worked out just fine. You might not feel comfortable cutting it in thirds. It's a pretty long piece of string, and a lot of patterns you can get away with cutting it in quarters if you're trying to squeeze as many bracelets out of your floss as possible. And that's probably especially true if you're doing expensive floss. If you're getting like the DMC and you're paying $1 a piece, you might want to try to squeeze out as much as possible. In which case, you let that string change color, or if you just run this pattern with two solid colors, you could have exchanged that one that ran through the middle any number of places and have been fine. It would have, nobody would have known any different. But it's because it's variegated, because it's slowly changing its color. I wanted to keep that string doing the work the entire time. And the same was true on the little bits that are on the side. There's a little zigzag that happens over on the side. Once that string started, I kept it for that whole little segment again, so that way it would kind of naturally have the colors and stuff. Now, after it's done with that a little bit, it can swap with one of the others. I don't mind, that way it's doesn't get overused, doesn't get too short. But again, and this is just a personal preference. You could do it your way. If you're not caring about the whole sudden jump of color, then so be it. As far as the colors go, I think I could have gone with something with a bit more contrast. I think it kind of gets a little bit muddy as it goes along. It's hard to recognize the pattern in some places, and in some ways it's kind of cool like that. And I suspect that there'll be somebody will see this as being completely different than anything else I've ever made and possibly love it that much more for that reason. But I think I would have been happier with a bit more contrast. Maybe have gone with a darker solid brown, or maybe a much lighter solid brown, just to have really gotten more out of the contrast. But that said, it still is a good experiment. It's a chance to see something done differently. And, you know, I now kind of have feelings about this. And now I kind of want to try something different. Maybe the next variegated, I'll make a bit more contrast, or, you know, change it up in some kind of way, right? It's just the way that these kind of things can make you think. It's a real opportunity to think out of the box, get something new, make it different, make it fun. This took just a little bit less than an hour. So yeah, talk about like being able to work in an area and then have these nice long rows and stuff. It worked out. Yeah, 12 strings, usually around an hour 10, you know, but this was a little bit less than an hour. I was pretty pleased with that. I thought that was cool. So yeah, that was refreshing, because I usually work for like 30 minutes, and then I'll take a little 10-minute break just to kind of clear the mind, get a little drink, do whatever, and then go back for another 30 minutes. And the fact that there was still time left on the clock, I was like, wow, yeah, that felt like an accomplishment. So yeah, that doesn't happen very often, to be honest. It really doesn't. Oh, where I just realized that was the halfway point of that diamond thing there. Let me thank my YouTube members for making this possible. I go through a lot of string, and their contribution has helped with that. Also, they've contributed to my sense of, you know, place in this whole group of people who want to see this channel survive. And it's very touching to know that there are people out there who are willing to put it together $4 a month just to try to help keep this thing going. I really appreciate it so much. You guys have no idea what it means to me. I would love to get to a point where I could do a lot more giveaways and stuff. At the point I'm at now, I could probably do it with the bracelets. I could probably give away some bracelets, but I would run into the trouble of the shipping. Local Singapore stuff, that would be fine. I could do that. I could do so many giveaways, but the majority of you aren't here in Singapore with me. A lot of you are in America, and there's some South America, and there's all around the world. And I love you guys. You guys are fantastic. Thank you guys so much. But I really want to give more. And the only way I can do that is if I could become a little bit more financially capable. So that's the goal. Help me reach it. Because I would love to. I'd love to put this into somebody's hands, and as a way of saying thank you. So yeah, that's that. Yeah, I was pretty happy with this. I didn't have any mistakes through the whole thing. Like I said, I think the only real mistake was not getting enough of a contrast in colors. My friend, though, did say that they thought it looked a little bit like coffee, you know, when you're adding the creamer to it. And to some extent, I kind of see that now. It is kind of neat. But I would definitely go for a little bit more contrast. I thought it'd be interesting, though. I really did. When I picked the colors, I thought, you know, this would, the contrast would be there, because the lighter ones seemed like there'd be so much more light to it. But then there's bits that are almost the same exact color. I didn't really count for that at all. Again, I'm not a person who uses variegated floss that often. This whole little challenge is about me trying new things, learning new things with the color, because Yeah, I've done a lot of bracelets over the years, just not as many of them with the variegated. And the ones I have done, I don't think I had quite all these colors. I got a sampler pack, and that's what I'm going through right now. And I'm trying all different kinds of combinations just to see what it's like, and trying patterns that, you know, I think would be good, because variegated looks good when it's sandwiched between stuff. It can be a 2 or 3 color bracelet, but it looks good when it's sandwiched between solids, because then you really see the color change, things are happening. That's what tends to really work with variegated. If you tried an all variegated bracelet, it will look messy. You know, if you do the if you don't use a solid to go along with it, is what I'm saying. It will just look messy. But you can play around with, you know, 2-3 solids to go along with it, and suddenly it becomes the star of the show. It really is. It's a neat phenomenon. So, and it makes it unique, because you never get the variegated to line up the same way ever again. So that's always fun. Oh yeah, this is getting towards the end now, isn't it? Cool. Well, hey, thank you for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. Anybody who watches the whole video, you guys are really helping the channel probably more than you know. So thank you very much for that. If you could, hit the like button, and as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.